Hi everyone. I would like to start this video by first wishing all the students who are taking the 11 plus exam this month all the very best. So in this video, we are going to capture some of the most common answer sheet mistakes which students make. So this is based on our August mock exams, which we conducted across London, Amersham, Ilford, Reading, and Milton Keynes. So we have observed these expensive mistakes made by a number of students. So we just wanted to highlight you. If students have a view of this video before their exams, I'm sure they will avoid these mistakes and perform the very best they can in the exams. So before we start, let's first review the various answer sheet formats which you can be expected to come across. So there are two main kinds when we talk about MCQ questions, that is the multiple choice variety. So this is mostly available in GL style of exams. So we have these boxes which need to be marked with a horizontal like this, which is shown here. Now let's review some of the wrong ways to do this. If you mark a line which is over the box or exactly on top of the top line or below the box, or you try to tick the box, then another mistake is, a vertical line instead of a horizontal line. Then we could have things like, a small mark like this. So these are some of the more common mistakes which we have found. In a couple of slides, we'll see examples of, how these have been wrongly marked. So all of these are not the incorrect way to mark it. The correct way to mark it is by a solid line going through the center of the box, something like this. So it doesn't have to take a lot of time. It can actually take a fraction of a second, but you need to do it correctly like this. The second format you could come across is where you have these ovals. So this is a sample sheet taken from the Sutton Consortium exam. So in case your child is sitting for that, you might come across these. Now the right way has been shown here. You need to fill the oval like this, and the wrong ways have been shown as well. So don't do a tick mark, don't do a cross, don't half shade it, don't put a circle instead of coloring it in, and don't do a small mark like this. All of these have a possibility of not being recorded correctly by the OMR sheet, and you might lose the point even though you have attempted it correctly. Yeah. Now, at the same time, you don't need to spend a lot of time coloring the box in. For example, these are some of the sample answer sheets, which have been provided, and you see a little bit of the box is left unmarked. But as long as majority of the box has been marked, this would hopefully be taken as correct. So don't spend too much time coloring it in. The better job you can do in a reasonable amount of time, the better it is, obviously. Yeah. So guys, hopefully this takes you through some of the more common mistakes which students make. Now let's also look at some other kind of exams where you might have the standard format where you actually have to write the answers down. For example, this is an example from a CSSC exam where you have a little bit of space to, do your rough working out, and then you need to write the answer here. So for example, if it was 422, 421, I could write it here. Yeah. So the second format is where you have a box in which you need to write your answer. For example, this is taken from a FSC sample exam. So you have been given a box and you need to write down your answer. Because the writing in this case happens in pen, in case you need to correct it, you need to cross it out and write the answer on top. So which is very different from the other exam formats where we generally write in pencil. The third kind of a thing you will come across is more in the English section, where you will be given a space to write a detailed answer. So these should be complete sentences, and try to limit yourself to the space which is clearly marked for the answer. Yeah, we'll get some guidance on this towards the end as well. So now let's look at some of the more common marking mistakes which students have made in the August exam. So first is leaving questions unattempted. So for example, if you look at this particular student's attempt, they have not attempted question number 16, not attempted 17 to 20, not attempted 25, and again, not attempted these particular questions. Now, even in case the exam does not have negative marking, In case there is negative marking, it would be specified in the instructions. So always read the instructions very carefully. Yeah. So in case there is negative marking, then it makes sense to, not guess answers where you're not sure, unless you can, weed out maybe 3 out of 5 choices and you've got 2 left, then it might be, worth an attempt. But complete guesses are not advised in case there is negative marking. But in most 11 plus exams, there is no negative marking. So in case it is not mentioned in the start of the exam, do not leave unattempted questions. For example, if you are this student, if you could just take 15 seconds towards the end and, quickly just take a guess in these questions, it will just take you 15-20 seconds. And for example, this student left 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 questions unanswered. Even if you take complete guesses, mathematically on average you would expect at least to get 2 of them right. Yeah, so that is 2 additional marks, and that could end up making all the difference. Even though you might not have so many blanks, but even if you have 2 questions unanswered, towards the end, just take 10 seconds and take a guess at those, so to get your best score in the exam. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense, guys. Let's look at some other common mistakes. Now this is about when the mark is too light. Most exams recommend HB pencils, so make sure you take a couple of HB pencils, make sure they're correctly sharpened, and make sure you take a eraser and a sharpener as well in case you need it. Yeah. So be well prepared for the exam. Now, these are some examples where I'm going to show you where the mark is too light. For example, look at this question. Now, a student has clearly marked C, but a OMR sheet might not be able to, distinguish this. Similarly, if you look at this mark over here, it's very light and in the wrong orientation. Again, these marks seem to have something there, but they are extremely light. So if a physical person would have been marking these, there's a chance that, they might have given this as right. But OMR sheet, I'm not sure if it's going to be catch some of these answers. So it needs to be one bold a mark across. For example, this is the right way to do it, a OMR sheet reader will definitely get this answer as correctly attempted, but it might not get a lot of the others. Yeah. So please make sure that you use HB pencils correctly sharpened and, do a straight line across the rectangle in case this is the format you are experiencing. Let's look at another mistake, which is very common. Incorrect marking technique. So in the second slide, we had seen what are the recommended ways to mark the answers, especially in the ovals box. A lot of that applies to the rectangular ones as well. Now let's see some incorrect techniques. Now in this, the student has actually tried to tick it and, then they have tried to shade it. So in case you do something wrong, rub it out completely and, then do the correct mark. Now all of these are, very bad smudges. So, try not to do these. Now again, these can be best described as smudges. And, again, these questions required one correct answer. And, we can see, I don't know the OMR sheet, which one it's going to take as attempted in this case. So don't do it in this way. Now, again, look at this very light mark and, it's in the wrong orientation as well. So, please follow the instructions very closely as you can, and don't do anything different. Now, in this case, this mark is towards the bottom of the box. So I'm not sure if the OMR sheet is going to get that as an attempted answer. In this particular case, I'm not sure if the student has tried to attempt it. I could see a line going towards the top of the box, but I'm not really sure. So again, not a very good way of attempting it. Look at this mark here. It's a very small smudge in the center of the box, not, what is recommended. What is recommended is a, solid line through the center of the box like this. This smudge is, not good. Again, try to avoid these things. Try to avoid all of this. Coming to this particular question, again, they have tried to tick the box. Don't do that. So, you have to apply the correct marking technique. It will be explained in the center, in the start of the exam. Please follow the guidance. Next error is double marking. So in a lot of questions, you only require one correct answer. But here the students have tried to rub it out, the old answer, but it has not been done very effectively. For example, again, going back to this example, so this seems to have two two answers marked. One can't really tell which is the one which has been marked out wrong. Again, if you look at this particular one, so it is clear that the student initially marked C, tried to rub it out, and then marked D, but the mark C is still available, visible. So the OMR sheet just might pick this as the marked answer. So, please try to avoid these costly mistakes. Again, if you look at this particular question, it is clear that answer E was initially marked, but the student has tried to rub it out, but not very effectively, and then marked A. If you can avoid doing these mistakes in the first instance, obviously nothing like it. It keeps the answer sheet clean, but obviously you can't help it. If you've made a mistake, you need to rub it out a little bit more effectively. Again, this B could be taken as the answer as well because the mark is still visible, and same is the case here. Okay, let's go to the next issue. Marks on the answer sheet. Now, the OMR answer sheets, which you are going to get where you need to record your answers, they are going to go into a OMR reader. And it is very important that there should be no extra marks on the answer sheet except that what is expected. So in most cases, you will have a place for your name and you will have place for your answers. So there should be no other extra rough work on the answer sheet. For example, in this case, this has been done. Again, there is a little bit of work which has been done here. And similarly, do not circle or put any other mark which is not expected. In case you need to circle questions that you need to come back to these later, do it on the question paper. Similarly, any rough work which you need to do it on the question paper, not on the answer sheet. So please keep the answer sheet pristine and only your name and whatever information is expected and the answers. No other marks on the answer sheet. So guys, another point which we have noticed is the use of pen on the OMR sheets. So in the OMR sheets, you are expected to use pencils. Any other deviation will be clearly mentioned at the start of the exam. So again, read the instructions carefully. Do not use pens if it has been asked that pencils be used. Now, there are two problems. A, the OMR sheet might not read the pens. And B, in case you make a mistake, for example, it's been done here. Now you can't rub out a pen mark. So the student has tried to cut it out and put the answer as E. So you will not be able to do this effectively in case you're using pens. So make sure you are carrying enough pencils and and eraser and a sharpener as well. Yeah, please make sure you carry all of these. Now let's talk about in case you are doing standard question types or in the creative writing section. So we have not shared example in this section because parents might not want their students written examples to be shared. So but we are going to give you some general guidance. A, read legibly. So this is particularly true for the creative writing sections. Is a lot of students submit pieces which are really hard to read. Now, granted, these will be marked by teachers who have more experience of, marking various kind of student writing. So there's a very good chance the teacher will not penalize you for bad handwriting. But at the same time, it is your job to, make it easier for the teacher to understand what you're writing. So please try writing as legibly as possible. Try to limit yourself to the provided writing space. We have got examples where students have to cut out the entire thing and in very, very small they have written the answer at the bottom. In many instances, very hard to read. It looks really messy and it is bound to get you a little bit of negative credit in terms of the person who's checking it if he's not able to read it. Yeah. So please try to make it neat and try to limit yourself to the space that is provided. Especially in the creative writing section, if you have been provided with a planning sheet, use that to try to come to effective plan so that the number of errors in the actual writing is limited and you submit a very neat piece of work. Yeah. So guys, with this, we come to the end of the error section. Best of luck for your exams and please let us know your results. And we really, and whatever be the result, you have done great. So be proud of, all your hard work. Thank you.